Hello, everyone, and you're very welcome to this Wednesday edition of the Man United Agenda. And boy, do we have a lot to get our teeth into today. I know Cookie's ready, so let's get into it. Hello, everyone, and you're very welcome here at the Man United Agenda studios. And boy, has it been a day that could be historic for our club. But before we get into that, I want to welcome my two wonderful guest hosts and panelists, the learned Mr. Omundi Juma and TalkMU. Omundi, how was your day? And just how flabbergasted are you at the pace of news for Manchester United today?
Well, it seems like it's really good news. And rather than saying hi, we're about to say bye, bye, bye. And that'd be bye to Glazers and bye, Ratcliffe. Bye, bye, bye. You know? I'm doing my research now. I always say, I'm not very good at the financial side of things or the business side of things. I'm leaving it over to you two experts. That's not really my field. But I do think it's a positive thing. From what I've seen so far, he's a Man United supporter. He's like the 112th richest man in the world or something like that. And he probably got more care and passion than the current owners, you know. So, yeah, this is good news for Manchester United Football Club.
TalkMU, give us your feelings on today's news. Now, don't go too deeply into our wonderful topics, but give us how your pulse is.
I'm feeling like 15 again. Just going to the discotheque. You know what I mean? I'm all revved up, man. Proper revved up. But obviously, Amondi's never seen my abilities at managing money, just when I go to the supermarket. So Monday, when it comes to dough, bro, don't be giving me no money, mate, because it'll just get spent. It's gone, right? But no, listen, it's very exciting, and like you say, we've got a lot to talk about. So let's have it.
Sorry, can we throw this back at you, please, Rebel? How do you feel about it?
Actually.
In the words of Tom Cruise, I feel the need for speed, because I tell you what, if you could see my face right now, I haven't had my grin leave my face since I saw that Times article earlier on, and I did not believe this was possible. When I heard that there was snippets of something going on yesterday, I came across a tweet from a friend of the show, Mr. Phil, and he said, stay calm, stay cool, stay collected. There's something in the works. You know, he didn't tell us the whole pile, but then today, rough is all I have to say. But yes, talk.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I'm not excited. I called my missus Jim earlier. I went in and said, Jim, you're never going to guess what's going on. And she's like, what? Who? They're like, oh, I mean, honestly, calm me down, Rebel. Calm me down, bro. I need it.
Yes, indeed. Here, but before we get into the high-octane sixth gear, there's a number of people in the chat that we need to say hello to. On Monday, do you want to say a quick howdy do to our wonderful viewers?
Most certainly, and they're piling up as we speak. So we've got to say hi to Eddie. Football Waffle, he says good evening. He's talking about Michael Knighton and Casemiro and everything, hostile takeover. Yeah, Eddie's got it covered. Rushmano's in the house. How you doing, Rushmano? Greetings again. We've got Gavin Ward as well. He said, even to the panel in the chat. And welcome back to Mike Green. Where have you been, Mike Green? You've been abandoning us. Good to see you back, man. Hope you're well. Want to say hi to FTB's column. How you doing? He's saying Glazers scout. Glazers out. Glazers scout. Let's scout the Glazers. Are they good potential buyers? Anyway, ATT TV. So get it done. Yes, that's like
Andy Tate.
Yep.
Go on, Andy.
Big up, Andy. Bill Badger saying Omundi Rebel and talk. He's giving us the spot sign. Live long and prosper. I think that is. And Gavin Ward, the saviour. Ratcliffe, Edgar's in the house saying, he has 28 billion worth of net, so he can buy the Glazers out. This is beautiful stuff. Love hearing this. Bath Time with Vaughan. If you haven't seen the show last night, go and check that out. It was absolutely brilliant. Tactical breakdown of what happened at 4-0. But we're over that. It's good news now. We're talking about Ratcliffe. It's Brexit means Brexit. and Emma Kay's here, Robbie Norman's here as well, and Mike Green saying the rats are gone. I need a glass of Dutch courage. I just find it's ironic, isn't it? His name is Rats, which we got infestation with, and the Cliff, which is our former training ground.
Lemmings.
Yeah.
They're going over the edge, bro.
TalkMU, that's for your Friday night. What do you do there? Putting quiz together, words together, do a little wordplay. So Rat and Cliff. Yeah, that fits.
Yes, indeed, folks. But let's get into the meat of the sandwich, because let's face it, when we picked up this story this morning, there was talk, sports that had broken, that there may be a possibility that the Glazers were going to sell the club. It then developed that they might do a partial sale. We've obviously had the Michael Knighton story for the last number of weeks, and he made a interview, I think, on Tuesday night, stating that it is unlikely that he had enough funding amongst his fund group to assume control of Manchester United. But he stated in that interview that if it resulted in a Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming out of the woodwork, then their job was successful, that the takeover possibilities would have been commenced by their actions. But the story this morning was that Manchester United may have been up for sale, and we do have a little graphic before we get into Sir Jim himself. Multiple buyers are circling Manchester United amid beliefs Glazers are ready to sell the club. It certainly sounds like something is brewing in Tampa, where the Glazer family live, and we got word earlier this week when we broke an exclusive about interest from a New York investment fund. A new report from The Independent claims multiple consortiums are circling United with a view to a formal bid, with the belief that the Glazers would hold out for around $6 billion US, so about £5 million, I believe that is. Miguel Delaney reports a series of industry sources insist the biggest takeover in global sports history is a strong possibility, with the next 1 to 2 years being the time frame that they established this morning in this morning's article, whereas the Glazers had previously been reluctant to entertain offers, and United itself has been dismissing trust rumours up to this week. A number of factors are understood to be influencing their stance. The journalist also claims there's growing feeling in industry circles that the deal of the century could be on. Manchester United fans have been vocal in their protests over the current owners after 17 years of pain, after watching them drain the club and taking advantage of its commercial value. Nowadays, the Glazers just prioritise dividend payments over on-field success. It really is a sorry state of affairs for the biggest football club in the world. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's company, Enos, refused to comment when asked whether it conducted meetings about a potential bid. Delaney adds, offered a similar statement when asked about the United being up for sale, and we did then get this later on. Fabrizio Romano has tweeted that Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants to buy a stake in Manchester United. If the club is for sale, Jim is definitely a potential buyer, he told the Times. And of course, Sir Jim Ratcliffe does own Nice. Now, I'm going to start with you on Monday. There's a lot to digest there, but I don't think any of us believed that, given the financial importance of the United income to the Glazer family, that they would ever think of relinquishing control of Manchester United. But it does look like now that money may be talking.
Yeah, most certainly. I mean, we thought this would never come to an end, but all great empires come to an end, don't they? I mean, we can only look at history to see that happen, and look at recent history as well. Look at Roman Abramovich, that's come to an end. And the Glazers, hopefully now, has come to an end with the backing and the voice of all the supporters out there. So it's like there's a guy called Jim Ratcliffe, who's a chemical engineer, and I would use the term periodically, as in
Nice.
chemical puns. And also I'd say we are in our element at the moment, I'm just trying to create a few chemical puns there. That's the best I can do. I need bath time. Where's bath time when I need him? But if any of you guys can come up with some chemical puns, that'd be great. But anyway, yeah, I think the fan base is really happy. This comes on the eve of going to Liverpool, and we're on our face. We're bottom of the league. We've lost the last 2 games to teams we should be beating. We've had a bad last 12 months or so, maybe even longer. It's all under the reign of the Glazers, and it reminds you of like Moses in the Bible. He's like, set the captive free. We've got Exodus. We're getting out of here, and we're gonna have a new savior, new rules, and new laws. And Jim Ratcliffe is our savior, and I'm delighted about that. You know, no more worshipping the bull, the golden calf of the Glazers. We're gonna be going to a new direction, a new covenant under not the Glazers, under Ratcliffe, which I'm really pleased about. This is really promising. It's always great when you've got a fan who's a multi-millionaire as well, and sugar daddy. Well, sorry, millionaire. I said millions. It's billions now, isn't it? Trillions and trillions and trillions. Yeah. So we're smiling again. It's sort of lifted the whole show. The whole atmosphere around the Man United agenda has been really positive today. Even TalkMU's happy and not moaning about anything. So that's been volume.
Absolutely. Now, before I come to you on this, I'm going to add a little bit of an extra wing to the question for you. Obviously, with the past prospect of a takeover, I wonder, would that put the brakes on potential transfers, or given the importance of United being in a proper state of affairs, could it actually increase activity in the knowledge that the Glazers know that James or whoever ultimately takes control, if it does go through to a sale, is saying, look, I need the club in the best possible position to get the playing personnel in. We'll sort that out as part of the takeover package. Or could it be that we might have to kind of bide our time, a bit like Newcastle, wait till a January window and then get in the necessary resourcing?
Good question, that, Rivel. I think when we talk about earmarked funds, there's going to be earmarked funds that would have been sort of made available to Ten Hag that we know about, because all the rumours and the attempts at signing Anthony, for example. There was a limited price we were trying to get him for. Didn't work because they didn't want to sell. They bumped the price up. The Frankie de Jong money was running into 80 million. So there is money there to be spent. I think it's been earmarked, and I think that money will still need to be spent. And again, for the Glazer family, that's kind of like, it's not their money. That's come from the club. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think that they're going to suddenly just sort of go, no, but I'll put the brakes on the transfers. You know what I mean? I think that'll be a really bad move. But for me, I think what's happened here is, famous quote from a film, The Shawshank Redemption: time and pressure. Right? That's what's happened here. Time and pressure. We've been giving it out for time, and the pressure is now coming from, whether it is instigated by Michael Knighton and the Silent Knights, I don't know. But the pressure is now being applied by serious people with serious money. The Glazers know they are in a bad spot. They know the fans do not like them in the slightest. We want them out. We want them gone. There's an opportunity for them here to actually just, because they can't afford to do all the things that we've talked about in the past, can they really? The stadium, the training ground, infrastructure, blah, 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 blah. So for me, this is a real opportunity for them to sort of, in a way, they're going to do very well at this. They came into this club with nothing, and they're going to walk away with like 3-4 billion quid. It's crazy. Just take the money and say goodbye.
Thanks very much, Talk. But I suppose, Omundi, Talk mentioned the infrastructure, obviously the capital investment that would be required to update and modernise Old Trafford, and also to bring Carrington into the modern ethos. But for somebody of the wealth of a Ratcliffe, we'll say, who's reported net wealth is somewhere in the order of 20 billion, according to some sources that have published articles on this matter. The club really will be able to financially support itself from its commercial income in terms of its state today. But obviously, in addition to the purchase price and obviously extracting the debt from the club in order to put it into that position, you'd imagine there'd have to be a significant capital investment. But could he, obviously, being a businessman, then also offset that against getting relevant sponsorship in order to possibly decrease the financial burden that would be on him to bring United to where it needs to be initially?
Look, he should answer these questions. You're asking me. I'm a pauper. I am officially poor. I don't have money. I've never been able to generate money. So I'm the last person to ask about this kind of thing. But I would say he's got a track record. Obviously, when you've got billions and billions, you can make money. You can obviously find out how to get funding and if you need it, to get to sort out a club in certain areas. I think the club sort of generates money itself. If you look at the stadium, the amount of people that buy tickets, if you look at the merchandising, if you look at the sponsorship deals, everything else, like you've mentioned there, that's just a small portion of things. But there's other way. I think we're on the stock market as well, aren't we? So things will improve. I'm sure they can find a strategy to sort of pay off the debt and get the club in full ownership and managed correctly as it should be, because we are a really big club and we become a bit of a laughing stock. So after looking at his credentials, just briefly, because it's quite new news for me, I'm kind of like optimistic at looking at it. It's not like expecting Michael Knighton, who's got about £12 million, that's and or a consortium. You see what I'm saying? When you've got more heads and more people to sort of fall out with, it's more difficult. So I like the idea of one big guy coming through, and it's like his little project where he can make money like big again, and his name, he can make his name big. It's great. This is why I think with these owners, they don't really make a lot of money from football clubs, but they make a name for themselves, and you get a new sort of found. Look at Jack Walker for Blackburn, for example. I think he was in the steel industry or something like that. I can't remember his injury. Was it steel injury? But towards the end of his life, he decided, I'm going to go into football. He was very successful. He invested a bit of money. He won the league, and he's going to be a legend. His name, I'm talking about him like 30 years later, almost.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So for this man, Jim Ratcliffe, I think it's good for him. It's good for his stock as well, and he will be seen as a saviour, as I said earlier. I think because he's saving us at the last minute, he should wear a cape, and everyone should rejoice. It's really, really good news. So I to answer your question, Rebel, I think he knows what he's doing, and I think if we can have a strategy about how they can sort out all the issues, they're going to have to sit down and go through each detail. Right, we've got the debt. What are we going to do with that? All right, I'll assign someone to sort that out. Do you see what I'm saying? This is how these big men work. I'm talking like an expert now, but yeah, I can imagine how they work to get things done, and I'm sure they will get things done. And like TalkMU was saying off air just before the show, I'm going to call you out now. TalkMU was saying, bloody hell, if this guy comes in 2 years, we'll be winning the treble, or almost. He's really excited. So yeah, it could happen really good.
On Monday, man, letting out the bedroom secrets there, bro. No, but do you know what? I agree with you, Monday, and it's about legacies as well. This guy, this is not just him sticking his hand in his pocket. No, he's going to feed an investment here. As we know, Manchester United is, I think, from what I read the other day, second to Real Madrid in terms of biggest clubs in the world, right? And then there are some other Premier League clubs that are not even in the list, which made me laugh. Clubs who think they're that big, but I'm not going to mention any names. But anyway. So, you know what, this is a legacy, and for him and his family as well, his grandkids, great-grandkids going forward and everything else. And exactly what you just said there, Omundi, the saviour, Sir Jim Ratcliffe's name could be, right up there with the, some of the names that we already know at this great club. It really could. And, of course, I'm so filled with excitement. And obviously, we do need to know a little bit more about what's going on with this, the actual... how should we say, the strength of the interest from him and his party, because he will be, like you said there on Monday about the people that, the people who he's going to bring in with him are people who, firstly, will, in terms of a business sense, because let's not forget, we do need to look at the business side of the club if we're going to sustain ourselves. We're not just going to want a sugar daddy to continually feed us money. We have to keep the club going in a very profitable way. From the that side of things, the way it's run, etc., sponsors and everything else. So, but it's very exciting.
I think in regards to the funding side of it, what you have to remember is the position that we were in prior to Glazer takeover, prior to servicing the debt, prior to all the rest of it. And I think it was an order of 1.1 billion is the differential that Manchester United as a club are short for the duration of Glazer ownership is the figure that I have come across in various articles. And now there is some interesting tweets that are coming across from various media sources. One being Glazer family conducted first round of talks via legal representation on Tuesday night. Initial discussion was regarding a full sale, not a minority. So this idea of an investor coming on board with them seems to be dead in the water. And just, you mentioned the Monday earlier on there about the stock market listing. Again, I'd imagine if it is an order of an obligation to buy once you achieve a certain percentage, then the stock market listing may probably be something that won't be part of our future earnings portfolio unless Sir Jim decides he wants to allow a percentage of shares back into fan hands, which he may or may not ultimately do once he was to take control, if that is the case. The other interesting thing I am seeing is that the lights are starting to flicker again on Twitter regarding transfer deals, and rather expensive transfer deals. So you have to imagine again that if there is that sort of activity occurring, it has to be on the strength of money being repurposed because of potential changes to ownership structure. And I think something that is rather interesting, obviously we've had a very deep change in regards to the coaching, but if and when that this deal concludes, obviously there's going to be people that have been brought in that they're very much connected to the Glazer family. You'd imagine that there'll be wholesale changes again with regard to the operating structure, and he'll want people that are his people that are capable of managing a football club both on the business and football side, because I don't think he's doing this to make a big pile of money. I think this guy generates a lot of money from his businesses in the chemical side of things. So obviously he's doing this because, number one, he's a Manchester United fan. It's probably saddening him to see the club in the state that it is currently. But obviously, again, he's not going to, as Talk said, be a consistent sugar daddy. He's going to want the club to stand in its own 2 feet and ultimately maybe slowly start getting some of his investment back, that in the event that at some stage down the line that he does desire to sell it, that he's not going to be selling it at a loss.
I think if Jim does buy this, I think he'll be in his element.
The first thing, I think, it's true, when the first thing he needs to do with all his chemical connections is start a production of Ratcliffe, and then get rid of Glazers with that, sprinkle it on their seats. And clearly, obviously, clear the ground.
You didn't get me joke, bro. I said if Jim buys this, he'll be in his element.
Speaking of elements, Colm has made a commitment here on the Man United agenda that if this deal gets done before Christmas, he's running laps of Old Trafford in his birthday suit.
Hey, go on, Colm. Right, you know what? I'll be there with my camera, bro, to film it, and we're going to put it up on the agenda, mate, and then upload. Solo, get the thumbnail ordered, bro.
On Monday, let's get the pulse of the news of Sir Jim from our wonderful viewers, because I think it's important that we get their viewpoint on this.
Okay, so there's a lot of comments. I won't be able to get everybody. But Andy's saying we have to push this Monday big time, get it over the line. So he thinks by Monday, in a few days, it could be done, or some more news about it. But I'm saying when I was in the Northeast, Ratcliffe must have spent millions for the Middlesbrough chemical plant scandal. He literally doesn't care about the rules. The Death Star will fall, says Andy. That's a reference to Star Wars. Bill Baggio said, how you doing, Bill Baggio? I'm going to come back to your comment from yesterday. He says, this is not about money or how much cash we will have in the transfer market. It's about being a proper club again, doing things right, spending correctly, and being smart again about all things. I like that.
Sorry, Monday, I'm going to have to interrupt just briefly. There's a tweet just after coming out from Michael Knighton. Sir Jim Ratcliffe, yes. This is wonderful news. I said from day one the Glazers will be gone this time, and the great JR is the man to do it, and it's happened. Thank you to every fan that believed this message. Your support has been magnificent. Bravo. So Michael Knighton is feeling like it's job done in terms of his role in this whole thing.
It's like an 80s series. You got Michael Knight and you got J.R. Ewing. Anyway,
but on Monday, we hold that thought because we don't want to be saying who shot JR. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. All right. FTB column says Man United back in for Ajax forward Anthony, told what's being described as a massive offer will be presented to Ajax next week or this week.
Darmish has actually confirmed that in a tweet as well. I've just come across that.
Oh wow, this is looking good, Rushman will say the whole rebuild was a sham. It's obvious now. Andy's saying if this falls through, it's Ron's fault. As did Ronaldo. Rushman saying Glazers trying to raise the value of the club. Barthtine saying, so what's actually happening? He's buying a minority stake that's been offered up and asking a must, etc., to not buy any shares.
He's asking he was asking whether or not it was a minority or a full sale, and the reports that are coming out is that it's for a full takeover, not a partial.
He wants full control. I don't think he's interested in any kind of bit part, getting into arguments with Glazers. You know what I mean? No.
Yeah. Gopal saying Glazers would be trying to sign all these players now to save face to try to reduce the pressure on the Glazers out movement. That's Bill Badger saying at Gavin Ward, we've been too extravagant post Fergie. I hated the ludicrous amounts of money spent. Barthan said, I assume the Glazers' ability to take loans out against the club is exhausted. That's a good point. I want to say hi to Abdullah. How you doing, man? Big up. I haven't seen you for a while. He says the feeling in recent weeks is the Glazers would have to bring in an investor or sell sooner rather than later to improve the cash flow. And that's from Samuel Lockett. He's quoted that from. I'm just going to roll down. I want to say hi to Robbie Norman again. He's saying they're treated it like a dead asset now. Until sold, they won't approve any more signings until sold, in his opinion. I want to say hi to Pat Lawless. Pat Lawless from the Man United agenda. He said, top panel, top chat. I hope the first thing Jim does if he buys the club is to bring back Ralph Rangnick.
Good shout, actually. Good shout out, Omundi. I agree with that because you know what? That'll be a fantastic move. If he's got, like I said, he's got people involved in the money side of things. Bring Ralph back in the football. I know bath time, we're going to upset bath time with that comment. But bath time, bro, Ralph Rangnick could do great things for us.
I like Ralph as well. Paddy, Paddy's saying, Paddy from the Man United agenda, he's saying, let's be cautious, let's see cautious optimism. But if he does take over, sack the manager Arnold first. It's ruthless, Paddy. And finally, going to go to Gavin Ward. He said stock rose by 4% just on the minority news deal. It will rise even further on a full takeover. That might mean more money for transfers in this window. So I was thinking, because I heard earlier in the day that this could take maybe a couple of years or whatever. But Andy's saying it could be by Monday, by the Liverpool game. And Gavin's now giving me more encouragement. It could be very soon, sooner than we think.
What Andy was saying on Monday was that I think Andy was saying, now, do you know what I said? Time and pressure. So the pressure now, like what I was hinting at, was now the time is to continue that pressure on this game, this Liverpool game for the fans, and keep the pressure on the Glazers. This is no time to sort of everybody to step back and go, oh, right, we've done our job now. No, we haven't. Until it comes out and it's clear that they are selling it, they come out and say it themselves, and Jim says, I'm buying it. Not that I want to buy, but I am buying it. Then I think then we can have a little bit of a showdown, because I will most definitely be celebrating when that happens. No two ways about it. But we cannot be restful now against the Glazers. They've got to go empty Old Trafford.
Interesting tweet here again. It's the understanding of this particular source that a certain member of CO92 has been speaking / advising Jim Ratcliffe as well. So it does seem like there's a team around Jim to get this done. And speaking of getting things done on Monday, we haven't been getting things done on the pitch, and we have been linked with some players, particularly in midfield. Now, obviously, this was prior to this gargantuan news, but I think we better touch on it anyway. And that is that our search for a midfielder is continuing, and that is Casemiro. But it has been stated since then that he has absolutely zero desire to leave Real Madrid, and he was offered a staggering 18 million pounds per year to come here if that was the case, and it was believed that the fee was going to be somewhere within 50 million pound range. For a 30-year-old, obviously that would be a quite substantive fee, but I just wanted to briefly touch on this before we do get back to matters with regards to takeover and the possible permutations of it. Would you think that represented value for Manchester United? £50 million transfer fee, 18 million a year wage bill. Do you think that was something that was worth pursuing?
Look, let's just weigh it up like this. Is Casemiro a world-class player in his position? And when I say world-class, is he one of the top 7 players in his position in world football? And the answer is probably yes. He is that good. But then obviously you're saying value for money. He's 30 years old. He's burnt out, as in he's played his best football more than likely. Can he handle? Never played in the Premiership, but he played at Real Madrid, won many trophies, won many Champions Leagues. We saw him munch up Liverpool's midfield in the final just a few months ago as well. Very good player. And he gets in over Fabinho, who's Liverpool's best midfielder, I believe. He's in an international Brazilian squad. So I do agree. I'm not going to devalue him just because he's 30 years old or just because the price tag, whatever. Let's be clear about this. He's a very elite kind of player who sort of goes unnoticed, because when they talk about the famous midfield that they had, they rate that midfield up there with the Barcelona midfield of Iniesta, Xavi, and Busquets, for example. They've got Casemiro, Modric, and Cruz. Those 3 have got won major trophies, and he's the one who sort of like keeps quiet. He doesn't get them more. Modric was winning Ballon d'Ors and all that kind of thing. Cruz is just, a ball player. This is the guy who keeps them 2 together. But they've recently brought in the 2 young French guys. You know who they are, Camavinga and Monaco as well. So that's the replacement. They're doing well as a club. They're sort of changing of guard now. They have to replace that midfield because it's pretty old. But at 30 years old, he's still not. He can still go in Spain for another 5 years. And I reckon he can go to England for another 2 years and be okay. One concern for me would be a player called Alan from who got brought to Everton. I think it was under Ancelotti as well, because Ancelotti worked with him at Napoli. And he's a very good player. But I just think he was at the same age, roughly, and didn't really shine. Obviously, Everton aren't the best team, but didn't really have the capability to be that force. So I'm not sure whether, despite me saying he's a great player, world-class player, I don't know whether at that age it's a good value for money in response to your question. And I would only be paying probably about £30 million for someone like that. It might seem cheap, but he is that good.
TalkMU, give me your brief verdict on this, because I think this bit of news is probably very much in the minority compared to what was the stunning Sir Jim Ratcliffe news that we had seen breaking over the last number of hours. So let's give us your thoughts on Casemiro.
Yeah, I agree with Monday. Listen, this guy, he is world class. No 2 ways about that. That's never going to be in question by any serious football fan. He is world class, top draw. What he does there for Real Madrid, he holds up everything in that midfield. You know what I mean? He's, for the money that we're talking about, I mean, I don't know. It's a difficult one because we are screaming out for us. He's the screen. He's that screen right there for the back 4, or whatever you want to call it, back 2 when we got the wing backs going, etc. But he would be absolutely sensational, in my opinion, even at United in the Premier League as well, because he doesn't necessarily need to get himself too far up the pitch, and he's wise and clever enough and intelligent enough to be able to read the game and do well in the Premier League, in my opinion. I think he would shine, to be fair. And again, when you've got to back him and pair him with his ex-partner there at the back, Rafael Varane, there's a little partnership there, the understanding and trust and all that kind of stuff. And you see, talking about a position here that we have been crying out for how long now, and so, I mean, I would agree with Monday. I think if he was looking at stretching it, I think maybe 40 max million. I think anything over that, I think it's like, wait a minute, it's just an awful lot of cash. It really is. But I think he's a great player.
Interestingly, there are some sources in the Spanish media that were stating earlier on today that they believe that Real Madrid to sum this up, right now Real Madrid believe United are spreading these rumours to show their fans that they're trying to turn things around. Madrid don't believe United's interest is real and won't believe it until they put their money, not 60 million euros, where their mouth is. So Real Madrid were calling Manchester United's bluff, I think, in regards to uh, searching for Casemiro. And I think a similar offer for Felix, although quite a bit more substantial, was allegedly put in. But again, Atletico Madrid don't believe that the interest is concrete, that it was an effort to quell favour from the fan base in regards to the operating activities of the transfers this season. But Monday, we haven't checked in on our wonderful viewers in a while. Why don't you give us a flavour of what's been going on in the chat?
Okay, so this is mixed views here. So FD Column said if the deal goes through before Xmas, he will run through the birthday suit. I'm repeating that just so you know. We're not going to forget that. Yeah. So remember that column. You can't hide from us. You know where you're at. So Vincent Bullock saying what happened to the free nights. Gavin Ward saying stock rose. Even full takeover might be more money in transfer window. I've touched on these already.
I just want to come in on that one. There was a tweet there. All the talk of takeovers has been good for Manchester United share price, and minority shareholders too. Soon might be as much as $14 when the Glazers sold 10% in 2012. So there has been a rise of 17.8% in the share price.
Wow.
Okay. Bath Time saying builder of clubs. He presided over the destruction. He's talking about Ralph Rangnick here, I'm sure. He presided over the destruction of clubs and seen them replaced by vehicles for fizzy drinks and spreadsheets. He's an absolute horror story. So he's definitely talking about Ralph Rangnick. HD Game saying if it takes McTominay playing in midfield for the season, so the Glazers sell. Bill Badger said big contract and completely different one to De Jong when referring to Casemiro. Not sure if he's a Ten Hag player. I'm sure. Last one from me. I want to say hi to Ben Goss. Hi Ben, how you doing, man? Welcome to the channel. Ben saying, could Casemiro hold the midfield in a 6 role with players like Eriksen and Donny van de Beek as 8s either side of him?
Well, I mean, look, this is what he does. Number 6, he sits there, he screens. He's the base of the press. He holds it up. Right, the safety net that we talked about, that we haven't got them kind of players. So, and then at Real Madrid, the way it works is obviously we know Modric will go forward, whereas Toni Kroos is the guy who can pass. He's got the magic wand of a foot. I mean, so has Modric, but Toni Kroos is the one who would usually be the one who he would feed, and he would push it out to the left hand side usually in Real Madrid, and they'll work a diamond on the left hand side to try and get down that side of the pitch. Then with your Benzema, etc., then running in, you know what I mean? Negative space, ball coming back, etc. That's how they did. Liverpool in the final of the Champions League. So I think the question there is a good question because it is. Who did he say? Donny van de Beek and who? Sorry.
He's saying like guys, Casemiro is
Eriksen.
beside him, Eriksen and Donny van de Beek or something.
So is Donny van de Beek? Which of those two? Which one would you pick on Monday to go forward out of Donny van de Beek and Eriksen?
It's not about go forward. I think they've got players a unit in midfield, and I think Casemiro, he's not Cuban boxer. He's Casemiro. Sorry, excuse me, my boxing knowledge coming in. I think Casemiro is known as a sort of deep line playmaker, stroke enforcer, stroke leader. He's got it all in that. He's all got everything about him. I think he's a class player. Like I said, he's a world-class player. If you're thinking that players in that position, where does he rank? He ranks in the top 7 for me, I believe. I can't think of many players in that position that are better than him, especially over what he's achieved. So I think if he does come, he's not going to be a number 8. He'll definitely be a number 6 and someone who can get the ball out of defence. We've been struggling with and take the ball and bring it out. And he's strong. He's got character as well. And it's just about whether it's his desire. When you sort of offer him double his wages and say, yeah, this is your retirement plan. I think it was Mr. B who said, quoted today as saying, if he's Brazilians like, you look at Oscar went to China, Hulk went to China as well for the money? What about the desire? Is he coming here for the Man United Football Club? Oh, yes, please. Or is he coming here thinking, well, double my wages and then I can give my family a lovely, buy them a new home or something like that back home in Sao Paulo and have my own float at Carnival?
Just to bring things back onto our main news today, and that is, of course, the staggering developments that it could lead to the possible sale by the Glazer family of Manchester United Football Club, with Sir Jim Ratcliffe believed to be front and foremost amongst the interested parties. A tweet there is saying that those involved in discussions with buying Manchester United described the silence from the club as telling. The club previously had been quick to dampen sale talk, but the wheels are in motion. Glazer family financial model unable to support the club in the way it had previously. So, just to summarise, in the last 24 hours, we've had whispers about possible developments. Then this morning, the possibility of a minority share to bring in cash flow being sold by the Glazer family. Then that developed into a bid for Casemiro, which looks like it's already fallen flat in its face. We have now had deals for Anthony apparently being resurrected. £120 million deals for João Felix reportedly after being offered to Atletico de Madrid. And of course, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, through his spokesman, stating that his interest is concrete and they are exploring it. So very much a lot in motion. And I just want to give you a final opportunity to summarize your thoughts of the developments of the last 24 hours. I'm going to start with you, if you don't mind, talk.
Yeah, I was going to say, Rebel, and I agree exactly there with all those tweets and stuff that you've read out there. It's great news and it's all going in the right direction. But what I will say is, I will ask you the question and the people in the chat, does this change the opinion from players who are looking in at United now on what they may be arriving to when they are approached? Because for me, it does. So therefore, are we therefore looking at the wrong age group here in terms of target, i.e. Casemiro? So I should now be thinking, hold on a minute, this is all going as it's in the right direction here right now. So maybe does this change who we could go for in terms of targets?
For me, I think it doesn't change the predication that we don't have Champions League football this year. So obviously there's going to be certain players that are going to be beyond us regardless. But in regards to a structure, again, it being such early doors in this, I think there'll be a certain amount of calmness amongst players because they'll want to see this thing being almost done before they could say that there's a real change in the structure of the Manchester United and the way that the football business is handled. So I don't think players' agents are going to be fooled that anything has happened with these early exploratory talks. But again, it is positive. And the fact that it seems that there's reports of real bids being put in for players does suggest that maybe the purse strings are being loosened a little bit. And obviously, if that is the case, maybe it is on the behest of potential suitors that the club needs to have the resources in place so that the season isn't lost before it's even started.
Yeah, just to add to that, I do think it would make us more attractive. If you're looking on and going somewhere, you want to go to a house that's built on stone, not on rock, not sand. I say this all the time, and if you look at the foundation and say, "Hold on, this place is going to fall apart. I'm not coming here." Let's buy a house which is more secure, and that any player coming to Man United with this great news coming up, that there's a little bit of security with our future. I think that will be a more attractive proposition for any kind of big time player. Also, just want to add, by finish up my final point on this, is that I do think some things. It's not just out of the blue. Obviously, there's work going on behind the scenes. There's the public news, what we get to hear about, and there's the stuff that goes on behind closed doors. Behind the curtain, as they say. So I think this maybe has been going on. It's been sort of rumored, or they've been setting this up for a long time now, and I think this is probably why our transfer window's been sort of, let's get Eriksen. All right, we need a centre back, but just wait. Let's finish it up with the end of this window. If we can get this news in and get better transfers, and like you said, be a more attractive proposition to players, suddenly Frankie de Jong will be staring at Barcelona like that, smelling doo-doo, and just turn his head by Man United after the news, and his head will be turned, and he might be packing his bags and come to Manchester. Or players of that ilk, as we say with Casemiro.
Actually, Omundi as well. While you're saying that, can I ask one final question? Now, is this going to have a positive impact on our current squad? Is it going to lift the mood? Is it going to give players a reason to want to fight and go, you know what? Wait a minute. You know what I mean?
I don't think there should be parallels between the business and what happens on the football pitch.
No, of course
from the manager down, that there shouldn't be any kind of influence from what's going on behind the scenes. I don't understand how it could be. Oh, our club's a mess, whatever. They're getting paid anyway. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not like Barcelona where they're hardly getting paid, that kind of thing. They're getting paid. They need to perform, and so get rid of some certain players with bad attitude, and we'll be okay. And getting better players.
Absolutely, and I think for some people it might be food for thought in regards that if all of a sudden there is funding, there is resources, there is a cohesive, single-minded attitude towards the football direction, some players might feel maybe our time could be up, because I think I read that there was a tweet back in the early days where Jim Ratcliffe wasn't actually a fan of Fred or Ole's management style and felt that they were subpar. So maybe lads like Fred could find that if Ratcliffe did succeed in taking over, that their time at club might no longer be as long-term as tenable as they would have hoped. Yes, indeed. But I just want to say a quick hello as we wind down to Ben Gross, Montreal MUFC, all the way over there from Canada. Andrew has been absolutely hopping in the comments throughout the show with his views, and there's so many others that, to be honest, if we stayed talking, we'd probably be here all evening. The only thing that we can promise you here in the Man United agenda, that if anything major does break, we will come back on. We will slap it out to you and let you know with a piping hot dish what is going on. But I think for tonight, we can go to bed with a little bit of a smile, even if it might be a bit of false hope. But let's hope that Sir Jim or somebody manages to succeed in completing negotiations for the club, and that all parties will walk away from it with a brighter future. But from us, I think it's time to say goodnight. So on Monday and talk.
Good night. Thank you.
We shall see you all again tomorrow.